there is a moment, and maybe you have lived inside it, when everything you were counting on goes quiet. Not just quiet, gone. And in that silence, something very small inside you asks a question. Not loudly, not even in full words, just a kind of feeling, like a hand reaching out in the dark. It asks, is there still something here I can hold on to? That question is older than any book, older than any tradition, any border, any name we have ever given to the things we believe in. It has been asked by every person who ever sat alone with their own broken heart, their own tired body, their own life that did not go the way they imagined. You have asked it. I have asked it. Every human being in one form or another has asked it. Today, we are going to sit with that question together, not to answer it quickly, not to wrap it in something neat and hand it back to you, but to look at it honestly, to look at the three forces that have carried human beings across every kind of darkness there has ever been. Hope, faith, peace, not as words on a wall, not as ideas in a book, but as living things, things that breathe inside you right now, even if you cannot feel them yet. Stay with me. Let us begin with hope, not the hope that comes in bright colors on a greeting card, not the hope that says everything will be fine, don't worry. Those things can be kind, but they are not what we are talking about. We are talking about the other kind, the kind that shows up at 2 in the morning when you are staring at the ceiling and you do not know how the next day is going to happen. The kind that has no proof behind it, no guarantee, just a quiet, almost stubborn refusal to stop. That kind of hope, do you know it? I think you do. There was a woman who had spent 3 years building a small business. She had given it everything, her savings, her evenings, the years of her life that others said were meant for different things. And then, one ordinary afternoon, it fell apart. Not slowly, all at once. She sat in her empty space after the last customer left and did not come back. She looked at the walls she had painted herself. She looked at the sign with her own name on it, and she felt something she did not have a word for. It was not sadness exactly. It was more like a door closing, but she did not leave right away. She sat there until the room went dark, and then she got up. She turned off the lights herself. She locked the door herself, and she walked home with something very small but very real still alive inside her chest. She did not know what it was yet. She did not have another plan ready. She just had that small, alive thing. That was hope. Hope is not a picture of the future. Hope is not confidence or optimism or certainty. Hope is much quieter and much harder than all of those things. Hope is the part of you that keeps the door open even when you do not know what is on the other side. And here is what hope builds. It builds the next step. Just the next step, not the whole road. Hope does not promise you the whole road. It only ever gives you enough light for where your foot is going right now. think about the people in your own life, the ones who have been through things you would not wish on anyone, the ones who came out the other side, not unbroken, not unchanged, but still here, still moving, still somehow soft in the places that could have hardened completely. What kept them going when nothing made sense? It was not certainty. It was not a plan. It was hope, that stubborn, irrational, quietly beautiful insistence that the story is not over yet. Hope builds what cannot be built from reason alone. It builds the courage to try again after failure. It builds the hand that reaches out when it has already been burned. It builds the voice that says, "I am still here," when the world has given it every reason to go silent. And I want to say something to you directly. Wherever you are, whatever you are carrying right now, if you have even the smallest flicker of something that feels like hope, hold it. Do not analyze it. Do not ask it to prove itself. Just hold it, the way you would hold a small flame in your cupped hands against the wind. That flicker is not nothing. That flicker is everything, because hope does not just carry us forward. It changes us while it carries us. Every moment we choose to hold on, even by one thread, we become someone who knows how to hold on. And that person is capable of things the person who let go will never discover. Hope builds us quietly from the inside. Now let us talk about faith. And I want to be careful here, because faith is one of those words that has been used in so many ways that it can feel like it belongs to someone else. Like it belongs to a particular group, a particular building, a particular set of rules. But that is not the faith I am speaking about. The faith I am speaking about is older than any name we have given it. It is the faith that lives in every human heart that has ever trusted something it could not fully see. A farmer who puts a seed into dry ground in spring. He does not know for certain that rain will come. He does not know that the season will be kind or that the harvest will be enough. He only knows that this is what you do. You put the seed in, and then you trust the process you cannot control. That is faith. A mother who stays up through a child's fever, hour after hour through the long dark of the night, with nothing to do but be present and wait. She cannot make the fever break by force of will. She can only stay and believe and keep the cloth cool on the forehead. And somehow, in that staying, in that act of patient, quiet trust, she is doing something that matters more than anything she could control. That is faith. A young man who has been told again and again that people like him do not make it, that the door is not for him, and yet he keeps walking toward it, not because he knows it will open, but because something inside him refuses to accept the story others have written for him. That is faith. Faith is not the absence of doubt. Please hear that clearly. Faith is not certainty. Faith is not the feeling of knowing. Faith is the decision to keep walking even when you do not know. It is the choice, made again and again, to trust the part of life that cannot be measured, And here is what faith sustains. It sustains you in the gap between where you are and where you need to be, the gap between what you have done and whether it will be enough, the gap between the door you knocked on and the answer that has not yet come. Every human life has these gaps, long ones, sometimes ones that last years. And the question is not how to make the gap shorter. Sometimes you cannot. The question is how to survive it without becoming someone you do not want to be. People who lose faith in the gap often become hard. Not because they are bad people, never that, but because without something to anchor to, the uncertainty becomes too heavy, and so they stop feeling. They shut down the soft places inside themselves as a way of protecting against more pain. I understand that impulse. You may understand it too. But faith, genuine faith, the kind that lives at the center of who you are, does something different. It says, I do not know what this is for. I do not know when this ends, but I trust that I am not carrying this alone. And I trust that what is happening inside me through this is not meaningless. That trust, that quiet, steady, almost impossible trust, keeps the soft places soft. It keeps the heart open. It keeps you able to love, able to receive, able to begin again. There is something I think about often. It has no author, no single source. It is just a truth that keeps returning to me. It goes something like this. The roots of a tree go deeper in drought. The tree cannot choose the drought. It did not ask for the dry season, but in response to the difficulty, in response to the absence of easy comfort, it sends its roots down further and further until it reaches water no surface storm can touch. Faith is that downward reaching. It is not weakness. It is the most intelligent response a living thing can have to uncertainty. And I want you to think about a time when you kept going, even though you did not know why, even though nothing guaranteed it, even though the easier thing would have been to stop. What was that thing inside you that would not let you stop? Call it what you want. Name it however feels right to you. But know this, it was real, it was yours, and it sustained you. Faith sustains the capacity for life. And now we come to peace. Of the three, peace may be the most misunderstood, because when most of us hear the word peace, we think of stillness. We think of a life with no problems, a morning with no noise, a season with no difficulty. We think peace is something we get when everything else is finally sorted out. But that is not peace. That is just a quiet afternoon. Real peace is something else entirely. Real peace is something you can carry into a storm without losing it. It is not the absence of trouble. It is a quality of presence inside the trouble. Have you ever watched someone go through something genuinely hard and been struck by how steady they were? Not because they did not feel it, not because they were numb or in denial, but because there was something underneath the difficulty that the difficulty could not reach. That something is peace. There was an old man in a small village. His family knew he had lived through more difficulty than most people could imagine: loss, illness, seasons of genuine hardship. And yet people would come to sit near him, not because he had answers, but because something in his presence made the world feel more bearable. One day someone asked him directly, "How do you stay so calm? What do you know that the rest of us don't?" The old man was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "I stopped fighting the river. I used to fight it, trying to make it go the way I wanted. I lost every time. Now I just swim. I still get tired. I still get knocked around. But I am not fighting the water anymore. And that has made all the difference. Peace is not the end of difficulty. Peace is the end of war with difficulty. And here is what peace protects. It protects your inner world from being ruined by your outer circumstances. Think about that for a moment. Your outer circumstances, the job, the relationship, the money, the health, the things that happen to you, they will always change. They will go up and they will go down. There is not a human life in history that did not have both kinds. But your inner world, the place where you actually live, the place where you experience your own existence, that is something different. That is something that can be tended and protected. That is something you can, with practice, learn to keep. Peace protects that inner world. It protects your clarity when chaos is loud. It protects your kindness when you are tired. It protects your ability to make good decisions when everything around you is uncertain. It protects your relationships from the damage that fear and reactivity can cause. Peace is not passive. This is important. Peace is not giving up, giving in, or going numb. Peace is one of the most active things a human being can choose. It requires constant tending. It requires returning to yourself again and again in the middle of everything that is trying to pull you away. You have probably felt it at least once. A moment, even a brief one, when something inside you settled. When the noise was still loud, but you were somehow separate from it. When you knew, without knowing how you knew, that you were going to be all right. That was not luck. That was not accident. That was peace, showing you what it feels like when it lives in you. And the remarkable thing is this: the more you recognize it, the more you can return to it. Peace builds on itself. Every time you choose it, even for a moment, even in a small way, you are making it easier to choose next time. Peace grows with practice, and it protects everything it grows inside. We have traveled through 3 territories today. We looked at hope, that stubborn, quiet insistence that the story is not over. The force that builds the next step, even when the whole road is invisible. The force that builds us slowly into people who know how to keep going. We looked at faith, not as certainty, but as the willingness to keep walking when you cannot see what is ahead. The deep inner anchor that holds you in the gap between what is and what will be. The force that sustains the soft, open heart through the hardest seasons. We looked at peace, not stillness, not silence, not the absence of struggle, but the quality of presence that cannot be taken by circumstance. The inner world that difficulty cannot ruin when you have learned to protect it. The force that guards everything that matters most. And I want to tell you something before we close. These three things, hope, faith, and peace, they are not gifts given to special people. They are not rewards for those who have suffered enough, or prayed enough, or earned them through some kind of merit. They are native to you. They are already inside you. Every single one of us is born carrying the capacity for all three. What changes is whether we choose to water them. What changes is whether we turn toward them in the difficult moments instead of turning away. What changes is whether we learn through practice, through attention, through the courage to stay present, how to let them do their work in us. You have already survived things that once seemed impossible. Read that sentence again and let it be true. You have already survived things that once seemed impossible. That survival was not nothing. Something carried you. Something sustained you. Something, even in the darkest moments, kept a quiet place inside you that the darkness could not fill. That was hope. That was faith. That was peace, even when you did not have names for them. They were always yours. They still are, wherever you are tonight. Whatever weight you are carrying, whatever question is still unanswered, whatever road you cannot yet see the end of, I hope something in these words found you. I hope something landed. I hope you feel even a little less alone. Take care of yourself. Be gentle with yourself. The story is not over yet. If this story found something in you, a quiet corner that needed a little light, then you are exactly where Beautiful Voices is made for. Subscribe, come back, bring someone you love, because there are more stories on their way. Stories about the things that quietly hold us together. Stories for every kind of heart, every background, every belief, every kind of road. Stay with Beautiful Voices. We will be here.